What's up, everyone? We are live at 5atbroadway.com. It is Monday, May 21st, right?
Yes.
My name is Paul Wontorek.
I'm Beth Stevens.
Thank you for bearing with us, by the way. We had some technical issues, but we're here.
We're here. It's Monday.
With an amazing Tony-winning guest. Who's here?
My favorite, Cady Huffman from Chicago.
Mama Morton.
Matron Mama Morton.
Oh, sorry. I always
Thank
forget
you.
the matron.
Very
And we're
important.
also joined by Caitlin Gallup.
Hi, I'm off camera today. Hello,
She's
everyone.
off camera, but she's talking.
She's here.
So before we get to Cady, let's do today's top 5.
All right, so we got some exciting new casting this morning from Dear Evan Hansen.
Dear Evan Hansen has a new Jared Kleinman. Do we all know who Jared Kleinman was? It's Will Rowland's role.
Yes.
Very annoying friend.
Jared's a troublemaker.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sky Lakota Lynch will play the role, and he is making his Broadway debut, which is really exciting.
Congratulations.
He starts on June 12th, and you may have seen him in Iron Fist on Netflix.
Fancy.
Maybe,
Okay,
maybe
sure.
not. He's also been in Evil People and Land of Broken Toys, which sounds like a sad title for an off-Broadway show. And he was also in RuPaul's Christmas Queens,
Whoa.
which I missed, but now I know how to
I'm
spend
a big fan of Republic. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but it sounds very
But I'm
holiday.
into it.
Very holiday. So we're
And
excited.
he's coming to
for him.
Broadway.
Yeah.
And so Will Rowland's final performance is June 10th.
Correct. Thank
Did
you.
you already say that?
No, but
Okay.
yes, correct.
All right, we got some sad news this morning that Patricia Morrison has passed away at 103.
103 years old.
Wow.
What an amazing life. Patricia Morrison, of course, originated the role of Lily Vanessa / Catherine in Kiss Me Kate on Broadway. It's like one of those dual roles.
It is the dual role.
It's
Yes.
the dual role. She's fantastic. I mean, and we saw her a lot over the years.
She was a theater goer. She came
Yeah.
to a lot of opening nights.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like many of today's Broadway stars met Patricia Morrison because she definitely was like a supporter of Broadway her whole life.
Yep.
She died of natural causes, and she also was the final actress to play Anna in the original King and I on Broadway.
So in the succession there, she was the last one.
Yes.
It ran for a long time.
Yep. And then a lot of other Broadway credits, growing shows I don't really know, but Growing Pains, Victoria Regina, or
Regina.
The Two Bouquets, and Allah Be Praised.
Those sound like you made them up, but I love it.
So yeah, R.I.P. to a true Broadway star and legend.
All right, some fancy things went down last night at the Cheetah Awards.
Cheetah Rivera has her own award.
I know. I still call them the Astaire Awards.
I know, because
It's
we're old
It's
school.
like in my brain.
Yeah, but these are the dance awards and choreography awards. So let me break it down for you. Tony Yazbek for Prince of Broadway won, and Ariana DeBose for Summer. Those are the
Bravo.
male and female dancers. So good.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of both of them. We have a tie. We have a tie. You act like you're
So there's like
surprised.
20 voters. Sorry, I'm always suspicious
Mean
when there's a tie,
Girls,
but I'm
and-
happy
Mean Girls and Carousel tied for ensemble.
for
the
best
ensemble dancers.
Ensemble, right? Okay.
Outstanding choreography to Sergio Trujillo for Summer.
Which is really fun because Sergio didn't get a Tony nomination for
No,
choreography,
and this is
and he
some
was up against many of the choreographers that did get Tony nominations, and the summer moves are fly, man.
Well, disco is back.
Oh, by the way, they're on. What are they on tonight?
Jimmy
They're on,
Fallon.
Thank you.
Yeah, so check them out. I saw that on Instagram, so I can't wait to see that. I'm sure it's gonna be an amazing
It's going to be
performance.
amazing. Of course
Yeah.
it is. Yes.
All right, we got some sad news. One of our favorite pie shops is shutting its doors.
You got all the sad news today, didn't you?
Now,
I got some winners and casting. Go ahead with your sad news.
Favorite pie shops. The Little Pie Company is staying open on West 43rd Street, by the way. That's a great place.
You need an actual-
But Sweeney Todd, the immersive production downtown, is closing. It is closing on August 26th, so you still have time. This is a very popular production where they stand this far from you and scream in your face. The beautiful Sondheim music. That happened to me when I saw it.
I saw it with you, so
It's
yes,
terrifying.
it was
Oh,
us.
yeah, I remember. And we ate pies, and it was fun.
So fun.
And the cast keeps
It's
going.
terrifying. It's terrifying.
It's a big hit.
Yeah.
At the Barrow Street Theater, and currently Tom Sesma as Sweeney Todd and Sally Ann Triplett as Mrs. Lovett. So it's going to go through the summer. Check it out. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind experience.
Through August 26th, right?
I said that.
I'm just reminding you.
all right, and last but certainly not least, this fancy West End show has announced a U.S. tour.
It's so fancy. It's the Simon and Garfunkel story.
It's like a once-a-week West End show.
I don't know the
I mean, I'm
details.
just-
Let me just tell you this. Here. Okay, so it started in the West End. It had a UK tour. It's having 35 cities in the U.S. Starting September 28th at the Colonial Theater not in Boston, no, in Idaho Falls, Idaho.
Different
people.
Colonial.
Different one. And it will end on November 18th at the Lynn Auditorium in Lynn, Massachusetts. But listen to this.
Oh, it's a mini tour.
It's a mini tour.
Okay.
35 cities in a very short period of time.
Right. I was going to say, they're
Yes,
doing like 3 cities a night.
Based on the trailer for it, it looks like a concert. I mean, they're set up like the
Are
musicians
they
are on stage.
impersonating Simon and Garfunkel?
Yes, they are.
Art and Paul.
Thank you.
Or Paul and Art.
And yes, thank you. But I will tell you this: it's directed by Dean Elliott, who also played Paul Simon in London, and he was Buddy
Oh,
in
Buddy.
the Buddy. He was Buddy Holly in
Buddy
Buddy.
and Buddy.
He was Buddy and Buddy. He was Buddy Holly in Buddy in the on the West End. So there you go.
Okay.
He obviously knows how to do
So
that
wait,
kind of.
the director is also playing Paul Simon?
At least in London, they haven't announced casting yet for the U.S. tour, mini tour, 35 city mini tour.
Cool. Well, that's good music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Okay. Well, if you're into it, we can go to Idaho Falls or Lynn, Massachusetts, or one of the other cities.
Okay, Beth. While you
trip.
go figure out which city we're going to go to, thank you for joining us. Caitlin, why don't you tell everyone about Cady Huffman
All
as
right.
she joins us?
All right, Cady Huffman is currently starring as Matron, can't forget that, Mama Morton, in Chicago on Broadway. Previous Broadway credits include The Nance, The Will Rogers Ballets, for which she received a Tony nomination, The Producers, where she won a Tony, The Drama Desk, and an Outer Critics Awards, and more. You might have seen her online in Blue Bloods, or Masters of None, or Difficult People, or in her self-produced projects Cady did and After Forever. Please follow her on social media at Cady Huffman. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Paul and Cady.
Hi, Cady Huffman.
Hi, Paul.
How are you?
I always
So
wondered
good
how
to
to say your
see
name.
you.
I've seen it for so long now.
I love
you
the
put that right in
Nance.
front of you? Oh,
Speaking
thanks.
of Cady Huffman credits, I love.
Okay.
Meet you around the corner and a half. And wasn't that in that
I
show?
was a Catholic communist stripper in that.
Yes, we love that.
Tassels and everything.
How's it going? You're in Chicago, which is like right next door to here.
I am.
you're right,
I'm
you're a neighbor.
playing Mama Morton, and I'm loving it.
Are you?
I'm loving it.
Have you ever eyed that role before?
I had never thought about it. It was Walter
Yeah.
Bobby who was like, Cady, I want you to come in and play Mama. I was like, yeah, yes.
Sure.
I mean, and when I thought about it, I'm like, well, it's sort of like Ziegfeld's favorite went to prison and then came back as Mama Morton.
I love that.
You
I
know,
love that you
just
tied
sort
it
of-
with the Will Rogers
Yes,
Ballets. That's
it's
amazing.
just a big old vaudeville.
That's
you
so,
know.
yeah. Oh, oh my
sort of
God!
function
wow.
the same
It's so high
way.
concept.
Yeah,
So you're
well,
playing Ziegfeld's
I'm
favorite
much smarter than I look.
in Chicago. Wow.
Yes.
You look very smart, by the way. Yeah. So and the great songs. I mean,
I sing the two. I think the two best
the
songs.
two best songs. Let's just
and
say
I sort
it.
of saunter on, sing it, leave, saunter on, sing it, leave. It's
Yeah.
like, and everyone else is, killing themselves.
But there is an art to doing that saunter on.
Yeah, well,
Because
it's vaudeville.
I've
It's like a
yeah.
true comedian,
Yeah.
which I really, really love
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Just that true comedy, and I am committed to comedy, man.
And she's a broad.
She's a broad. She's
you
a,
like that?
she's a little butch, a little.
We like
I
that.
get called Diesel and
Diesel.
Butch and stuff
She's
like
Diesel.
that. Yeah,
I love that.
She's
I
a
love
little
that you
Diesel.
brought, I haven't heard that word in a long
I
time.
wear some flat shoes,
Flat shoes.
Flat shoes.
So it's a
and-
good gig.
Oh my God! Like I'm watching everybody else kill themselves, and I'm like, you go. That's awesome.
And you get to sing
guys
that
are
class
awesome.
song. That's like
Greatest.
great Candor and Ebb, like
Yeah,
those
and
lyrics.
with Am Raffay.
Yes,
know,
Am
it's-
Raffay, right,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, the two of us are just sort of, when you get on stage with somebody and you're just vibing. It's
Yeah.
like, we're just like flowing through that.
I want
song
to see
right
that. I want to see you
Yeah,
two
it's
do
fun.
that.
It's fun.
Yeah, it always reminds me. Remember that other Candor and Ebb song, "The Grass Is Greener"?
Yep,
It's
the
like
grass
a
is always
similar
greener.
setup, right?
Which I
That one from
sang
Women of the Year. Is that
recently.
what that
Yes,
is? Yeah.
yes, yes.
Anyway, I'm excited.
Thank you. Me too.
So, how's
Can
your
you tell?
Tony?
How is my Tony?
It's Tony season.
My Tony is excellent.
Yeah, where is it?
She
Do you spin her?
sits.
Is it a girl?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
she's feminine.
Is
yeah.
she Diesel?
Her name is Antoinette.
She-
She's not Diesel,
No,
but
no, no.
she's
Antoinette's a
a little
lady.
stocky.
Yeah, she's a little stocky. She's sturdy.
She's, you can sit her, you can put her down and she'll stay.
Yeah. So, where is she?
She lives in my bedroom,
Okay. Yeah, okay, good.
where I can wake up every morning and say, good morning.
Yeah,
Tony,
I love that. I love
Antoinette."
that she's in your bedroom.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
Yeah.
And
glad.
what do you remember about? So you won the Tony in 2001
Yes.
for a little show called The Producers,
Yes.
which was like the Hamilton of that year.
We won more than
Or bigger?
Hamilton. It was crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh, you won more.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. I wasn't saying that you didn't win.
Oh,
I
we
mean,
won all of them.
Because Hamilton.
Don't you forget it.
I tell you, it was one of those nights where I was like, "Oh my God, this is so great! Everything's me, us." And after was like, "Wasn't that the best?" And everybody else was like, "No." Like everything was you guys. I'm like, "Oh, sorry." Yeah.
You're like, this is the greatest night ever.
The best night ever. But no.
Yes, it was a good night. I
It
remember,
was excellent.
I remember, and I was very excited for you.
I have a lot of very vivid memories from that night.
So what do you feel like is it fun to like watch Tony's season from afar and to watch other people going through all that drama? What was it like going through it emotionally and like
Yeah,
was it stressful?
It was interesting because I had gone through it 10 years prior.
I know, 91,
in
Ziegfeld's
91.
favorite in the Will
Yes.
Rogers Follies, which I loved, Willamania, which I
Yes.
start many mornings listening to. Really, like you wake.
I'm not sure what we're allowed to say on here, but good for you. That's awesome.
It's a great song.
It is a great song.
You can say anything on here,
I
by
don't
the
know
way.
that it's a song as much as it's an event.
It's an
Willamania
event.
is like a freaking
Dun, dun,
event.
dun, 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 dun,
And it goes
dun,
on
yeah.
and on and
Yeah,
on.
and the
right?
stairs.
Yeah, I mean,
The
and
stairs
just
are a lot of
changes
stairs.
of moods and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had been through it
Yes.
in my 20s,
Right.
and then I was going through it again in my 30s,
Yeah.
and there's a big shift. In my 20s, it was just like, what? I'm what?
Right.
Getting the call. I didn't stay up to hear. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a possibility of
Right.
being nominated.
Right.
And then I'm in this big hit, The Producers, and it's now I have a manager who's saying I'm going to call you in the morning. It's like, oh, okay, this
Right.
is how this works.
Right.
The sort of businessy side
Yeah,
of it,
yeah.
and then going through it with more presence
Mhm.
because you understand that
Right.
this is it. Like, this is going to happen once, and this month is this month. And now that I'm outside of it and I get to see like younger performers who I know, some who I've, mentored,
Yeah.
and some,
Yeah.
it's just like, and watch how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And some people successfully, some people are freaking out. Some people just seem like this is what they were born to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it.
Yeah.
It's a hard month. It's a hard, joyful, amazing month.
Mm-hmm. I just love when people who are real industry pros like you, who I've seen be fantastic over the years, when they're actually honored for Tonys, and you know what I mean, and like go down in history as like a Tony winner. It's amazing.
Again, I don't know what I'm supposed to say, what I can say.
You
on
can
here.
say anything. What are the rules?
I don't know. I just wish the Tony Awards felt the same way sometimes.
What do you mean?
I wish they used more of us to present, and
Right.
sometimes it's like, well,
Yeah, I know.
what does she have to do with theater?
Right.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
it from theater fans.
Uh-huh. I'm down with that.
They're fans of us, we don't have that many fans. It's like we are a community, and it's pretty intimate with our fans as well. They
Yeah.
can see us, touch us. We meet them and we sign things, and there's like
Yeah.
a pretty intimate situation. And sometimes I just feel like the Tony Awards forgets that that's who the fans and I, as a fan
Yeah.
and someone in the community, want to see.
Yeah, we don't forget.
Not
No.
complaining though. I love my Tony Award.
We love it. You wake up with Antoinette every day.
I do.
So, it was when you got Ziegfeld's favorite in the Will Rogers Follies, that was kind of like a big moment, right? Because you had been in the ensemble, right?
Huge, yeah.
And
I
then
had-
Tommy Tune, what? Tommy Tune said her?
I tell you, it was one of those crazy things. I mean, I walk in. I mean, I still remember what I wore.
What'd you wear?
I wore, well, what was this, 1990,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I wore the shoulder pads.
Love it.
It was sort of a cream. I had just been to Europe.
Ooh.
So I had this cream little shirt with pads and big gold buttons.
Oh.
Tucked into the tiniest, tightest black skirt you've ever seen, and
Okay.
a belt,
Yep.
and just like looking like a showgirl.
Yeah.
But they were auditioning for a showgirl and a soubrette, and I am a coloratura soprano actually, so I
Oh.
went in and I sang Adele's Laughing song for my audition, and somehow Tommy Tune said, "That's the girl I want." However, Cy Coleman was like, "Well, can she belt?" So I had to go to his office, which is also his home,
Uh-huh.
and it's not at all intimidating when
Nope,
you're like in
not
your
at all.
20s and Cy Coleman,
favorite composer,
wants you
not
to sing,
intimidating.
and he puts like handwritten sheet music on the piano and says, "Can you sight read this?" I'm like, "Sure." Sight reading, and he says,
What
"Okay."
music was it?
Willamania. So, okay, now I want you to sing it like Ethel Merman. So I literally did an Ethel Merman imitation. Willamania, like all out. He was like, "What are you doing?" I don't want
He's
you
like,
to
"I
sing
just
it
want you to belt."
like Ethel Merman. I just want you to belt it. Why didn't you say so? And then I got it.
He was a lot of fun, Cy Coleman.
Oh my God, a genius.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you got to work
intense.
with Compton and Green on that show.
Absolutely,
I
Peter
mean,
Stone.
Peter Stone, all these like legends. It's
Yeah.
so cool that you got
Utter
to
legends.
like work with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Compton and Green wrote "Singing in the Rain" for
I know.
Cry.
I know.
Come on.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So how are those Chicago kids? How are those I mean, you get to watch them like
Well, and that's fun too because I danced for Fosse before he died. I was in
Yeah.
his last
Right.
original Broadway musical, so I am a Fosse dancer.
yes, actual Fosse dancer.
Actual Fosse dancer, which I can't believe. He only changed my life. And now I see these young people doing it. It's such an awesome. Yeah, it's a full circle
Yeah.
kind of event for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes they want to know things, and now I'm the one with the stories.
Right. Yeah, you have the stories now.
I have the stories, and I'm willing to tell them.
I love that you have stories. And the show's in fantastic shape.
And they are the sweetest,
Yeah.
sweetest cast. I mean, they have figured it out next door. They figured out how to keep the cast rolling, for one thing. There's people in and out constantly,
Yep.
and so they figured out this machine of just keeping a happy, safe environment. I mean,
Right.
it's a really, really fun place to, to become a family member of.
Right.
That was some terrible English construction, but I'm an actor.
Hey, Caitlin Gallup.
Hey.
Any questions online?
We have so many good questions. First, Alec agrees with you. He does want to see more stage people present at the Tonys.
Thanks, Alec.
And he also wants to know, what is your favorite song in Chicago?
Well, I think it's between my two.
Yeah.
Really, it's either
I don't blame you. They're all
When
great.
I Get
Winner,
Your
chicken
Mama,
dinner,
or,
either
I know,
way.
or Class.
I
I
love
just think
it.
they have the best lyrics.
The lyrics. I mean, yeah.
The lyrics are kind of, and having worked briefly with Fred Ebb before he passed, like I can just hear him in it. It's just so like, there's such a simplicity and utter intelligence to his lyrics.
That's good. All right. The people also want to know, what is your favorite memory from the producers, other than maybe like your amazing
Maybe
Tony
winning
night?
a Tony Award. We won them all.
The opening night was epic too, by the way.
Epic.
I remember that opening. It was crazy. It was
Right?
at Roseland, right? Roseland?
It was at Roseland, and maybe it's the dresses that I'm, designers asking me, will I wear their dresses?
Yes.
And, Pamela Dennis, would you mind if I designed something for it? It's like, yeah,
Yes.
okay, yeah, sure,
Was it fun to be the girl with all those guys?
It was.
I mean, all those.
It was just
all those
sort of a
amazing
moment
guys.
of And the thing is, Nathan and Matthew were so
Lane and Broderick.
friends of mine. They were already big stars, right? And the rest of us weren't.
Right.
So they're leaders in that way, because none of it. We were in Chicago first, and Chicago was like blowing up with
Yes.
people scalping, and
The buzz was crazy.
it was crazy. So we're thinking, what is going to happen when we get back to New York, and can we possibly live up to it? So again, that's one thing we love about theater. Why we love people in theaters? We do become family, and it became this quiet eye of the storm that was the producers. We were all doing a show, and then the world around us was spinning like freaking crazy.
Right.
And those two really watching, and having worked with Nathan again in the Nance, watching him maintain greatness, it's extraordinary. It's a huge commitment, and it's just so fatiguing, and somehow those 2 to 3 hours a night, you just and you do it again. It's amazing.
I remember
Did
when.
that answer that question?
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember
that was
when the
beautiful.
producers started in New York. You're right. There was so much buzz ahead of time
Yeah.
that I remember sitting down in previews, and the minute it started, people were like scream laughing.
Yeah.
The second it started, and I was like, okay, let them do something.
Yeah.
But it actually lived up to that. But you're right. People came in like, this is gonna be, and if it wasn't, that would have been.
Yeah, we
trouble.
went through some.
But it was.
Yeah, we went through some interesting stuff because that 9/11 happened that year
Right.
as well,
Yeah.
and essentially Broadway was going to shut down, and then we got a whole new
Yeah.
audience because our audience couldn't get onto the island. You know, the people weren't flying in, so it was a new thing, and then so it was interesting, and a lot of. I remember my brother, who's a writer, said, "How are you going to make people laugh?" And I said, well, I can't wait to hear people laugh.
Right.
And then it's the first time in my career where I was like, oh, this is a service almost. You know, these people would be, thank you for 2 hours. I didn't have to think about this. And I don't know, it was extraordinary. Then we'd sing, you know, God Bless America at the end, and everybody in the house would just cry and sing, and the roof would fly off. And it was, I mean, we could have a few Live at Fives just about.
And how long did you end up doing, Ula?
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, my left hamstring knows just how long. Doing that flip off the desk and landing on the splits. It's like, no, stop! But yeah.
That's good. All right, George says you played so many incredible roles. Do you still have any dream roles that you would love to tackle?
Well, George, I hope it's George. I hope it's baby George from London.
Sure.
I hope it's, Will and Kate's George.
Yes, it is.
Who's
Oh,
asking.
of course.
But you know what I want to do? Well, it's a couple, but Mama Rose.
Yes.
And
Can I just tell you 3 minutes before you walked in, I was
Yeah.
singing Gypsy, and I said, that's a role I think Katie should play. I
Yeah.
literally just said that before
I
you walked
really,
in.
there's someone who's trying to get that going. So I'm fingers
Yes.
crossed. And Mame, I would love to do Mame.
Yes.
We need a good Mame
Right?
production. It's time.
And I would love to do Dolly again. I mean, I've played Dolly in regional, and I would just love to do her again. She's
Fun.
She's
Amazing.
amazing.
I'm into all that. Cosign.
Yeah. Write a check, please.
Cosign.
Write a check.
Oh, right. You didn't. Right. The check.
Yeah.
The check. The check.
Broadway.com.
All right. And last question. We've kept you here too long already, but why do you think audiences are just continue to come back to Chicago?
What a great question, because I just went to the 30th anniversary of Phantom, and that is gold and brocade and
Yes.
just every kind of
Yeah.
everything. And this one is so pared down, and I find it so interesting that those are the two that are
interesting. Yeah.
lasting,
Yeah.
right? And it's simply a great score. It is simply not just great dancers, but some of the most beautiful bodies you're going to see.
Yeah.
So it's visually stunning, just because of the raw talent. There's just talent on stage.
Yeah.
And they've really done a superb job of paring it down. And there's just, you go into that theater, there's just still excitement about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done. I'm brand spanking new, but they have somehow made the experience new to, I guess it's maybe that partly that the cast does change a lot, so there is newness
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you see Anne Raffay and Charlotte D'Amboise, my God,
Right.
I mean those women are spectacular.
Yeah. But you're
Yeah.
you're the fresh meat over there right now.
I'm the fresh meat.
Diesel.
Flat shoes.
Cady Huffman, I adore you.
No, I adore you.
Thank you for coming by.
Wontoric?
Montoric. Yeah, you said it
Okay.
right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thought for sure it was Wontoric.
Nope. You
Nope.
did it right. Your instinct was correct. Thank you guys for watching. Go see Chicago. It's still awesome. It's at the Ambassador Theater. And Cady Huffman is matron Mama Morton. Hey, Caitlin, why don't you take us out?
All right. Thank you all so much for watching Live at 5 today. You can re-listen to this right after this and get all of that fun producers and Chicago knowledge. And join us tomorrow as we are joined by Olaf Greg Hildreth. Let's go. Okay.